First of all, there's no right or wrong. Situation changes, circumstances changes. Whatever the decision we make at that point in time may be right. But as the situation changes, the goalposts keep moving. We have to adapt and we have to move on and change the times. One good example is in any crisis management, we must act and act fast. The first thing that come to my mind is what happened on October 26, 2000, where we had a big fire in the old factory in Kapong. Everything was raised to the ground. We didn't buy enough insurance because back then they thought insurance was an expense, which of course was an expensive matter. And then the bank started pulling back facilities because asset management is their policy. And that was a very expensive lesson and a very tough one. But what I was happy about was that no looking back. People say, when you have a crisis, everybody say, why me? Then I ask them one question. When you strike the lottery, do you ask why me? So the first thing is to accept that the reality is this, face the music and move on. And cut a long story short, the team got together, we worked very hard. All the machines were destroyed. I called my customers personally, called my banker, called my insurance agent, called all my major suppliers because I want them to hear it from me rather from somebody else. Told them what happened, and the good thing was that because of our name, our reputation, and that the fact that we have always been a very good company, all these people continue to support us. And we rescheduled the shipment was supposed to go on. Other than that, everything was back on track. We were lucky because the fire brigade controlled the fire, and the section where we kept all the mold making machinery were not damaged. We got the molds back, repaired them immediately, and then subcontracted all the molds out. And I was also very happy because back then I was still the president of the Malaysian Plastics Manufacturers Association. And I had people calling me, listed company calling me, telling me, Callum, just send your molds to my place, tell me the quantity, tell me what price you want to pay, and I'll get it done for you. And I was very happy. We had people supporting us like that. And everything went on smoothly. We moved to a new location, bought new machines, and all the machinery suppliers, the Japanese machinery suppliers, were very, very cooperative. They jumped out of the queue to make sure that we get the machines first. And then same with the raw material suppliers, they give us longer credit, they give us time to move on. And we got back on the feet very quickly. And of course, we learned from the lesson and we moved on. People don't like to be talked to. People don't like to be instructed, myself included. So what I do is I tell stories where people can relate to, where it is real life and they can see for themselves. Of course, it's leadership by example. If I say no smoking in the office, in the factory, I don't support myself. And to make sure that the head of the department gets the right message, I keep repeating the same people when working. To the extent sometimes they say I'm long-winded. But then you have to continue to do that. And having done that, I will then make sure that the head of the department cascades the message down to the subordinates and so on and so forth. And it's not just assuming, taking for granted that they will do it. I will ask them, for simple reports. Have you done this? Have you done that? Not so much because I don't trust you guys, but I want to make sure that the same message is being filtered out. And to the extent where, again, we draw a lot of pictures, we translate in Nepalese, in Bangladeshi, put in a hostel so that people get the message. Of course, not everybody will get the same message or understand the message as equally as the other. But at least everybody has an idea of what needs to be done. And of course, when I walk the factory floor, talk to the people, they say, I'm a different guy. To me, whether I'm the CEO or I'm just an operator, effectively all of us work for the company. And when I talk to them, you make yourself approachable, you make yourself open to them, and they feel good, and they appreciate it. And hearing from the floor is where you get the real message. First of all, rules, guidelines. Rules are rules. Guidelines are guidelines. It should not be set in stone. There's no such thing as a blueprint where you follow exactly, you will get this. If you do that, you will get that. Because if you do that, it is the most obvious way to go to end up being a failure. We have to look at the situation. We have to look at the circumstances. And after all, we are dealing with human, not with machine, not with robot. And then we have to look at the emotional part of it and why people did what they do. So we have to try to understand, put ourselves in the shoes. I always tell my people, in my absence, ask yourself one question. If I were in that person's position, would I have done the same thing? Or maybe I may have done the same thing. And if you think the answer is yes, then we should forgive that person. At the end, we are all human and we have all emotions. And if the company can live with it, we should. One example is where we have this Nepalese guy who was loading a container, a 40-foot container. He was on the forklift. He slipped and he fell. And he broke his backbone. His spinal cord was hurt. And of course, we sent him to the hospital. And the doctor made it very clear that if he's not operated on as soon as possible, he will end up being a cripple because we're talking about spinal cord. And we also know that if you follow the book, doing things right, okay, if you go by the book, report to the insurance, and the insurance will pay 700 ringgit. Period. And if he's handicapped or he dies, then they will pay about 24,000 ringgit. I said, no, that will be the wrong thing to do. We should do the right thing. So we knew the cost. We checked with the doctor. He will need a series of operations. Then he put in certain stainless steel to balance back the backbone, and the cost will be about 25,000 ringgit. And I told my people, do it, knowing very well that we will not get claimed. But to me, it is not the 25,000 ringgit, it's the human life. And this guy wasn't fooling around. He was working for the company, and it's my responsibility as a CEO to ensure that he recuperates and that he gets back his life. So cut the long story short again, he was hospitalized, went through all the operation, and when he recovered, I made it very clear that he should not do any heavy work anymore. That he would work in the warehouse doing data entry. He continued to work with us for another 2 years after discovery. Then he went back to Nepal. And we were all very happy because, and personally I was happy because I didn't let that 25,000 ringgit make me do things right and make the wrong decision.